How do you go about your creative process? Sometimes you whip out your phone and make a quick note.
I was getting a smoothie at Strong Hearts, and this girl was playing this R&B playlist. I'm like, yo, this is slapping. Like, I gotta see what this song is.
5 years from now, how do you envision, your typical week?
Okay, so
But yeah, dude, I appreciate you coming on here.
yeah, bro, I'm excited.
And
man.
we were kind of just hopping right into it, but you got a few things going on. I was
I got a
talking with
few
your
things,
your
no
buddy
doubt.
Brandon Zwankowski
Oh,
last
man.
night,
Oh,
and
man. Where'd you see him?
I just caught up with him on the phone, and he's
Okay.
singing your praises. And
my guy, man.
he's pretty excited for you. But we have a lot to talk about. But why don't we just dive into? Obviously, you're a pretty well-known DJ in the area, and now you're starting to expand beyond just Central New York here. But talk about how you even got into DJing.
Man,
Bring us back.
Yeah. I was debating on how far I wanted to go back, but I'm like, I can't.
First grade,
I have to
download a Napster.
Definitely had the Napster days. Definitely had the LimeWire days. The Bill Clinton. Did you have LimeWire?
LimeWire,
Yeah, so
Kazaa, Morpheus,
You'd
all
like
those.
download like a song that wasn't there, and it would have like this Bill Clinton fake ad.
Oh,
And be like,
yeah.
I didn't have sexual
You
relations
just with that woman. Oh, I forgot about that.
Classic, man.
That's so funny.
But yeah, I mean, going back to it, at like 2008, like 07, 08, I'm like a freshman in high school, and shout out to my boy Max Barone. He would like beatbox at parties, and I had this one rap like memorized. So every time he beatbox, like boom, and it just kind of got around the high school. Like, yeah, if they're at a party, like he's gonna beatbox and he's gonna rap. So I started seeing like the reaction from people, like, oh yeah, I can like move a crowd. And shout out to 50 Cent. That was the first raps I ever wrote, was like listening to 50, and I just always like was inspired to write, and just that really put me on some music. My parents were very into it. My mom's side was a very musical family, but just something about when I saw 50 Cent fall from the ceiling on MTV, and he started doing In the Club, I was like, yeah, that's the genre for me right there. Like that, it just clicked for me. So yeah, I started putting mixtapes out. I bought a USB mic at Best Buy in 09. I'll never forget, August 2009. I get this Best Buy mic. I'm like, yo, first Friday of school when I come back junior year, I'm gonna have a mixtape. I'm gonna put it out. I was very inspired by like Wayne at the time. His output was like crazy. There's a dude under him, Currency, that was putting out mixtapes every month. So I was like, yeah, when I put music out, I'm gonna put music out every month. So I come back to school, 2009, started handing my mixtapes out in the hallway. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do this every month. October comes, Beeswan. It's actually really funny that you brought up Beeswan, because he comes to me in October and he's like, yeah, I just gotta let you know, man, people don't think you're good.
Let's shoot two straight.
Yeah, he's like, yo, that was the first like constructive criticism. So I kind of get back in the lab, and was like, okay, I gotta really like I gotta take this serious if I want to do it. And so yeah, I was just rapping from 09 to really like 2022 is when the last album I put out. Got in a band in 2018, other West Jenny dudes that were a couple years younger than me. And throughout the whole process though, whether it was me just like on my own putting my own music out or being in a band, I think the one thing that I've realized recently was I was always subconsciously DJing. And what I mean by that was, when I would go do a set by myself, like I'd have a 20-minute set, I knew for like 5 minutes in the middle, I was gonna put like, I remember one that I would always go to was All Gold Everything, Trinidad James, like in the 2013 era, because that was just like a huge song at the time, and I knew it moved people. So I knew in the middle, I was like, yo, these people don't know my music, right? Like I'm not like a big artist. So if people are at my show, they're not gonna be able to sing along with me. So I need to put music in there that they would know to like capture them back in, and then I'll finish it out with my own music. So I was always putting in 5 to 10 minute things where it was songs that people would have known, and something about sharing my music preferences with people and watching it move them. It just gave me an amazing feeling, man. Just be able to move a room. So same deal with the band. Like the highlights of the nights when we would perform would be doing covers. Like I loved performing our original stuff, but we'd throw a cover in there. We used to do a Rage Against the Machine cover, and people would just go
Go
crazy.
nuts.
They go crazy, and seeing people move that way. So once I started DJing, I'll never forget going downtown for the first time, and I'm just seeing people sing things word for word that I loved. Like when I would go out, I'd never hear 50 Cent. I'm like, yeah, I'm trying to go down there and put people on to like what I grew up on, but also things I'm listening to now. So when I would just watch a room sing things along, I'm like, I was doing this all along and I didn't even really know. I have a super appreciation for writing and that process of being able to create music, because I think it gave me an appreciation for how hard making a great song is. But yeah, DJing, it just showed me like all along this is what I was supposed to be doing. And I just didn't really know there was an avenue to do that until COVID came along and I was like sitting in my room and um, bought my first board, and that was history for me. So yeah.
Yeah, I have quite an appreciation for playing music. I'm very much an amateur DJ, as in
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
parties in college, parties in high school, tailgates, whatever it may be, an aux cord DJ,
Yeah.
more or less, right? Figuring out songs that I think, you don't want to play the songs that like, oh yeah, everyone knows this is hot or whatever it is. I mean, sometimes you mix those in, but it's like the songs that people are like, oh, I know this song and I haven't
100%.
heard it in forever. And it's like, that was always kind of my goal.
Yeah.
Started from the days of like LimeWire, like having someone sit while we're on AOL, like,
Yeah.
this song,
Yeah.
this song,
Yeah.
all the way, like I said, high school, college. And my family, very similar. I have a lot of, extended family members that are in bands. My brother could play the guitar very well. And they always talk about just like playing live music,
Yeah.
how awesome it is.
Yeah.
And I played saxophone for a year. And then all of a sudden the lessons were during recess. And I'm like, I'm out.
Dude, that's so funny because
So I'm like, I
played,
never had any sort of musical, gift or
I
anything.
played sax too, man. Fourth grade. Shout out to my boy Cam Kyle. We were in sax together, and he comes to me one day and he's like, "Yo, I'm quitting." And I loved saxophone, but I was like, "Yo, I'm just, fourth grade. You want to do what your friends are doing?" So I'm like, "I'm out. I'm done." So
Well, used to be able to miss class my first year. Then the next year, they're like, "All right, we're going to do it during recess." And I'm like, I'm not missing soccer
course,
for
bro.
this,
Of course,
running
man.
around for a half hour. I needed that.
I'm
But
glad you brought up the aux cord too, though, because that was also a pivotal part of getting started too. Was like, I'll never forget. Never forget. Shout out to my boy Tom Pritchard. We were on a bus visiting one of our boys at Niagara University, and someone was like, "Yo, take the aux cord," and me and him were just like, boom, song for song, and watching the whole bus go crazy. Like those were some of the first moments of like, same deal.
yeah,
I knew like, oh yeah, this is an amazing feeling. To your point of like pulling those gems out that like people forgot, and it like scratches that itch in your brain, like, oh shit, I forgot about this
yeah,
one.
exactly. And they
Yeah,
go
that was
wild
like,
for it.
I need that. I
Yeah.
need to keep doing that. Yeah.
Yeah, at Albany, I would make a playlist and then go hang out at the party. At Syracuse, sometimes we'd be on Euclid, and we'd have a big party, and I would just kind of read the crowd a little bit, and you start playing cue up song that's next. All of a sudden, like party's clearing out. I'm like, I didn't talk to anyone. It's
Yeah,
like I
oh
was
yeah,
DJing the
oh
whole
yeah.
time. I'm like, man, what I kind of but it was always so much fun. So I definitely have an appreciation for it. So you decided to kind of pivot a little bit to be a DJ.
Yeah.
What did you just kind of one day like, all right, I'm gonna give this a go. I'm gonna try to book an event.
Yeah.
Like, how did that work?
Yeah, so COVID hit. I'm in this band, and like we were right as COVID hit, where never forget getting the text like Rudy Gobert gets COVID and the NBA shuts down, and the dudes that were in the band with me aren't sports guys, so I knew, I'm like, the NBA shut down. This thing is
not
real.
normal.
Yeah, this is real
for sure.
So we were actually in North Carolina at the time doing a gig, and so I get back home, and I'm just like, I had watched DJ sets forever. Like there'd always been, shout out to Miles Molina. He had one set that I would always go back to, like when I was cleaning my house. So I just was like, I was seeing little TikTok mashups and stuff. TikTok starts blowing up a little bit during COVID, and I was like, you know what, man, like, Same deal, like the aux cord stuff. I'm just like, I gotta stay creative. Like I gotta do something here. So, I bought a board, and somebody actually just put me onto the phrase COVID DJ. So I'm truly a
Ah,
COVID
okay.
DJ.
Okay.
Bought my board in COVID, and that was it for me. I just knew I needed to do something creative. And once things opened back up, it was like I want to go out and play. Like I was always just a DJ hater. So now I feel bad when I
Ah,
see the
now
comments. I'm
you're on the
like,
other side.
yeah, I'm like, yeah, this is karma. This is karma. Like people don't understand how. I mean, people don't understand how hard it is to do anything. Running a
No,
podcast,
for
people
sure.
think like, oh yeah, you're just talking. Like, no, you sent me the questions before. Like, I appreciated that, so I knew going into it. But yeah, people never understand, and I'm realizing that. I'm realizing like not to get upset with people like they don't understand what goes into this stuff. Just like I wouldn't understand what goes into like being an engineer. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So I've definitely got my dose of karma though from being out, and people are like, if you don't know this song, you shouldn't even be up there. I'm like, yo, come on,
Yeah,
man. Like what?
relax. Yeah, it's a very subjective,
No doubt.
everyone knows this song. It's
Yeah,
like, all
yeah.
right, all right. Today's episode of Upstate Impact is brought to you by Renewal by Andersen of Central New York. Summer's here, and it's the perfect time to upgrade your windows. With Renewal by Andersen's exclusive Fibrex material and expert installation, you'll get a cooler, more energy efficient home that looks as good as it feels. Click the link in our show notes to schedule your free quote today. Renewal by Andersen, superior products, exceptional service. So diving in, did you ever any experience with like a board? Because when I look at like a DJ board, I'm like, I don't even
That
know
is the
what's going
most
on.
confusing thing at the
Yeah.
beginning, man. It was like beat matching, all of it. It just that first 2 years was hard. Like it was hard.
At least you had like some musical
Yeah,
background to be able
yeah.
to dive
And I
in.
think that carried me for a while. I think one thing I was very proud of being an original artist was from '09 to 2022, right? Like that's 13 years of doing that. So I felt very proud of that. And DJing, now I'm 5 years in. But when I was only a year in, I was like very discouraged, like, damn, I got a long way to go to be 13 years into this. But I think the thing I didn't realize was that 13 years that I was being an artist, yeah, I wasn't mixing on a board, but I was in front of crowds. I was studying music because I
A
wanted
lot
to
of
learn.
parallels
Yeah, I
for
wanted to learn
sure.
how to be a better writer. So I went back and listened to Fleetwood Mac and like, how did they make songs that lasted for 50 years, right? So I was kind of training even without doing it. So I think just my musical knowledge and love for it. And once again, I have to give my parents props. Like they just had a melting pot in the house. And I had uncles that were in bands, my cousins were in bands. Like I just was around it. So I just always had the love for it. And I think that carried me the first couple years where I wasn't great at mixing things together. My song selection was there. So I see people now, people will get mad at certain DJs because they're not the most technical DJs. But I also see comments where people are like, I don't care if you can scratch like Jazzy Jeff or whatever. Like, I don't care about that. Play me the songs that I want to hear at the times I want to hear them. And I see that like very controversial in comment sections for DJs, but it is true, man. If you just have great musical knowledge, like that will take you a long way. If you know
Especially
what,
for the general public
yes,
who
for the,
doesn't,
yeah,
necessarily pick up on all the
yeah.
intricacies of, professional DJing
Yes,
and spinning the
yes.
tracks
Real
like that.
time stuff like YouTube is different because YouTube, it lives forever. People can pick it apart. So you do it. I'm realizing
It's a
there's
good way to learn, huh?
yeah, yeah, no doubt, no doubt. So there is a difference between making a YouTube set and just playing out. But I see people where I'm like, yeah, I mean, are they the greatest DJ from a technical standpoint? No, but their song selection's amazing and they have great musical knowledge. Like that is a skill. I mean, that's the number one skill. If you ask me, like you need to play, you just have to have great musical
Especially for a
knowledge.
crowd,
Yeah,
right?
100%.
People want to hear music that they're
100%.
into.
100%.
So you struggled for a couple years. I'm sure you were, better than average, but it took time, it took
Yeah.
effort.
Yeah.
And at what point did you get that feedback of like, oh, I'm actually decent at this and I think I can make a serious go of it?
Yeah.
Or were you just in love with it and you're like, I don't really care. I'm just going to do this because I like it.
I think a little bit of both. I think a little bit of both. When I got the board, I was like, I was just so burnt out from trying to be an artist. And when I first started being an artist, like in '09, um, I mean, a lot of it was I want attention from girls. Like it was just like I want girls to like me. And then as I went deeper into it, I was like, I love this. Like I love digging for records and like I said, studying like how did these people write melodies like this? How did just song structures? I just fell in love with the craft. Even like I grew up on 50 and Jay-Z and all that stuff, but like I really went back and like just became a student of the game. Like I went back and listened to like Rakim and I just fell in love with hip hop. I fell in love with R&B and everything about it from like the origins to the now. And as I fell more in love with it, the more I realized like the games you have to play to like be a massive artist, like I just don't think I want to do that. I just don't think this is for me. Like there's just a lot of there's so much ego in being an artist and it just burned me out. There's a lot of shaking hands, kissing babies that I was like, I just don't want to do this, man. I just
Yeah.
want to be creative. A lot of business minded stuff that you have to do that I'm working through right now that I feel like I struggle with a lot of like I have to stick up for myself a lot of like what my worth is, but things that I don't have a choice now. Like I think Sunday cleaning has just gotten to a place where it's like I don't have a choice. Like and I wouldn't want it any other way. I this is
It's got to be worth your time.
it's been the most it's been
Yeah.
amazing. It's been amazing to be like people appreciate me for me like cuz that's what this all is. But yeah, so when I started DJing it really was like some of the best times still to this day are me um being in my I was in Franklin Square at the time. Um and I'll never forget this one night where it kind of clicked with me of how to like transition one song to the next. I was drinking some red wine, my cats are there, like it just was like, yo, this is like an intoxicating feeling, you know? So it was
You
just
sort of like figured it out a little, and
yeah,
you're like,
yeah.
okay.
So those were like everything and I was like, yeah, and um I had around like 2023, I started noticing like, okay, I'm okay at this. I didn't really knew where I fell in line, but I knew like I'm starting to go to weddings. I just could see myself go to a wedding on like a Friday and then go downtown on a Saturday and have two completely different crowds and rock it both times. So I'm like, okay, like I'm getting more versatile. I'm
Yeah.
starting to learn this. I'm really having fun being better at this. But still it was like I don't want to do this. I didn't know how big a DJ could really be. So I was like, I don't want to get wrapped up in the politics of it. And I could see myself doing that. And honestly, that's how Sunday cleaning was really birthed, was like me. I basically said to myself, like, look, I'm getting wrapped up in like Syracuse politics of downtown and who's DJing here and being jealous of this. And I was like, I need to get back to like being in my room in Franklin Square drinking the red wine and just learning and just like playing the records that I love that nobody else cares about. And so yeah, it was kind of a mix of both, but I would say Sunday Cleaning Volume 3 when I put that out. So that was March 2024. Some of the feedback from that I was like I'm okay at this. Like I think I
I'm getting
got a
there.
little something. And I think there is a market for people to appreciate what I appreciate. I just didn't think it would quite be what it's turned out to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sipping red wine in your apartment.
Yeah.
Is that where the magic happens? I mean, how do
That's
you
a
go
very
about
rare.
your creative process? Is it like all day, every day? Sometimes you whip out your phone, you make a quick note, like, oh, you hear a song, or you
Definitely
just
that.
comes, like something comes to you, or is it like I need to make time, I need to sit down, I need to kind of zone out, relax?
Yeah, definitely. I'm making notes throughout the day. Inspiration comes anywhere. One of my favorite moments ever was I was getting a smoothie at Strong Hearts, and it was like right at closing time, and this girl was playing this R&B playlist. I'm like, yo, this is slapping. And she actually had her phone on the desk and she's over making it. And I was like, tap, you can tap
Yeah,
it so it
yeah,
lights
to
up a
see what it
little. I'm like, I
is.
gotta see what this song is like. So Yeah, I'm making notes throughout the day, but I definitely try to find time, specifically the morning. The red wine thing is a very,
In the morning?
it's a very rare,
Okay.
very rare occurrence that, like that's like a once every couple months I'll be there on a Friday, have nothing to do, and I'm like, yeah, I'll sip some wine and see what comes of this. But mainly, I'm a coffee guy. Like I'm a coffee guy through and through. Like the morning sipping my coffee, like that's when it's flowing for me.
What about cannabis?
Never,
Never.
never.
Oh man, I
Yeah.
think cannabis, at least personally, strikes some creative
People
juices
tell
for
me.
sure.
People tell me.
You got to be in the right state of mind.
Yep.
But
Yep.
I say that, but then sometimes I'll be like, "Oh, this song's gonna slap," and then you play it, and you're
Yeah,
like,
no doubt.
"Sounding good last
Well,
night
that's
when
the
I
same
was,
deal with red wine, man. I mean,
yeah,
you can be like, yo, I'm killing this joint.
alone in my house."
my
But
my first gig, man. I'm at Benjamin's downtown, and I was mad nervous, man. And since then, I really try not to drink when I'm going, because I had two gin and tonics, and I was like pausing the record as it's playing. I'm like,
oh
yeah, like
wow,
I was like, yeah, no more
I
drinking
don't
while
do
I'm doing
that.
this. But yeah, I'm definitely a morning creator for sure. I try to wake up as early as possible. Lately, my routines have been traveling more, so I've been like out of my routine, which has been killing me. But I try when I'm in the sweet spot, I'm waking up 7:30, do some stuff around the house, and then I'm getting to it. I'm just like fiddling with records, and I'll try to give myself a goal. I'm always trying to work on a mix and give myself certain like projects to work on, that I'm trying to work out certain transitions. But definitely a morning guy. Um, but really, really whenever I can find the time. But I definitely am like, I gotta plan things out though, for sure.
Seems to coincide with Sunday cleaning, kind
Yeah.
of the morning,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Creative time for you. How did that start? Sunday cleaning, did just was that the vibe of kind of what type of mashups you were putting together, what kind of music you were putting together? How
Yeah.
did that start?
So yeah, I'm downtown a lot at the time. I put the first one out June 2023, and yeah, it was just very monotonous to like be at weddings, to play downtown. I'm playing just a lot of things I just didn't feel in my soul. Like I didn't love it. Yeah, there's
But
times
the
where
drunk 20-year-old might, but
yeah,
you don't, yes,
yeah, it's
I
just
get
not
it.
what I'm passionate about. So, um, I had started getting familiar with watching sets, and I say my holy trinity, Saint Chris, Mystici, and Sounds by Dante. Um, Watched all three of those guys a lot, and I was like, man, these dudes like Saint Chris. I remember he's another DJ in Houston. I remember watching him mixing, and he had a really old comeback season mixtape Drake record that he played into a 50 Cent record. And I was like, wait, like that's such a good idea. And then my boy Mr. C from Australia, he actually came out here a couple months ago and we did a Sunday cleaning. But he was playing really deep cuts. He was playing like Larry June, which is like West Coast record or West Coast artist that I'm like in love with. Um so he's playing these deep cuts, and Sounds by Dante. He was like making movies out of like his DJ sets. I had B-roll in them, and I'm like, okay, so I'm kind of like taking my notes, like, how could I do this in my way? How could I, so and I'm noticing these guys are playing deep cut R&B records that I'm like, wow, like, okay. And I'm seeing the comments, people love it. I'm like, maybe there's like a little market for
There's an
this, right?
appetite. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
So I put my first one out, June 2023, did it all on my phone. It looks horrible. And it like maybe got like 200 views. And I was like, but it was
It's
like,
a
you know
place
what?
to start, man.
Yeah, I
There's
was like,
200 people watching it.
yeah. So I'm like, yeah, like I just had fun doing it. I had fun doing it. So October 2023, I make the second one. I had two camera angles. I'm like, okay, cool. Like this is kind of cool. And then I took another break, and in volume 3, that was March 2024. That's when it happened. Like and in that time from October to March, that's when I got really like I said, just caught up in Syracuse politics of things. I really lost myself in the process. Like I was getting jealous of people for things that weren't necessarily like even my goals. I just was like getting away from like why I even was a DJ, which was to like put people onto things that I either grew up on or like right now,
Yeah.
to be a tastemaker essentially. And also like be great at DJing. Like right now, the thing that has kept me like even as big as Sunday Cleaning's got, I'm having so much fun because I'm just loving learning and being able to watch people and be like, wow, like yeah, that's dope. How can I do that in my own way? And um yeah, I'm just enjoying being a student. So I got away from being a student. And Syracuse can do that. It's such a small bubble. I kind of felt like I knew everything. And I just got wrapped up into things that just weren't me. Envy, jealousy, just things like that, that I just had to look in the mirror one day and was like, you know what, man, I need to take a step back. I need to stop going downtown. I'm single at the time. I'm like, you know, attention from girls. I'm going downtown. I'm like not loving making records. I'm just like loving like, yeah, girls like the DJ. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, I just really need to like, I need to take this time. So yeah, that whole winter, like December, January, February, I'm kind of plotting. I'm watching these guys, and I was like, I need to make a change here. I really need to jump into this YouTube, and you know, I'm just gonna stay away from downtown right now, and I'm just gonna focus on just being creative and doing something for me. And I really think that in itself, out of every project I did, I mean, I did so much. Like I made so many albums. We did so many shows with the band, but there was always an ulterior like, yo, this one could blow. This one could do it. And this was the thing. I was like, I don't even know what the ceiling for this really is. Like, I don't even think I looked at the views of these guys when I was watching there. I just loved what they were doing and the feeling it made me feel. And I knew I just wanted to feel like a student again and just have fun. And I put that third one out, and I remember texting my boy Jordan um, when it got like 2,000 views within that first month, and us just being like, "Oh my god, like yo, this is kind of
People like
crazy."
this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that's really how I would say the first two almost felt like trial runs, and then that third one, March 2024, like that was when it just happened. And yeah, it really all started from me just
Making that
truly,
change,
yeah, just
sounds
making a
like.
change, man. Making a change. I was walking a lot. I just was in the best headspace I was ever in. And I love those days a lot. And I try my best. Sometimes I get away from it, but as I get older, I get better at being able to bring myself back. Then I made a lot of videos while I was walking at those times. So I'll watch those and be like, yeah, take a deep breath, man. Remember where you were at the beginning of this, and don't lose yourself in the attention and the validation, you know? So I try to be very present with that stuff and remember what it felt like making that third one and how excited I was. I had this old 50 record that he made before he was shot, and I mixed that into a super old Drake record, and it was like really not mixed that well. But when I watched the video, I'm smiling. I'm just so happy to
So
be
into it.
playing these
Yeah.
records. And I always go back to that one, Volume 3. That one's like my pride and joy. So yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's funny how you bring up that you kind of went through a phase that you're almost envious, a little jealous of different, DJs, the whole politics of it all. And that seems to be a pretty common story, in business and like athletics, all over the place of like, you just get jealous of someone, especially like in business. Oh, they're having success. This company's having success, or this founder, whoever it is. And then you realize it's not a zero sum. Like if he's successful, that doesn't mean I can't be successful.
100%.
And then all of a sudden you start to realize that you're not really competing, right? You compete with yourself, you try to be the best you can be, and everyone's on their own timeline. And I think once you accept that, and then all of a sudden you start, you start to get that success, and you're like, hey, and then you're happy, you're happy for anyone. And the more you can kind of just be appreciative of anyone who's, seeing the success, and you try to learn from them. Hey, I don't want to do that, but that's awesome for him, whatever it is. And once you accept it, then you can, like you said, get in that headspace of like, I'm just gonna do what I want to do.
100%, man. 100%. And I'm forever working on it, right? Like being a human being,
Yeah, well, it's natural,
and
exactly.
you know, so
That's why
I
everyone kind of goes to that initially, but then you learn and you try to,
yeah, yeah. My therapist, man, we work on it every 2 weeks. Like, and I'll get on myself because I'm like, why do I feel this way still? And she's so good about being like, Of course you feel that way. You're a human. But I think the
Don't beat
thing
yourself up.
100%. And I
Yeah.
think the thing that she reminds me a lot is like that's inevitable, that envy, jealousy, or like I think the number one thing when I first walked into therapy like 3, 4 years ago, was I was like, I want to stop wanting to be validated. She's like, got news for you. That's never gonna stop, right? Like you're always going to want to be validated, but you need to have two things. One, emotional regulation. So like when you do feel jealous, envy, all that type of stuff, how quickly can you remind yourself, like, deep breath, like you said, everybody can get a slice of the pie. But also too, like the validation, like just being able to separate, like, do I want to be validated? Because like putting Sunday cleaning out, um, in my head for a long time, I was like, I didn't want to be validated, so that's why I work. No, like I put it out to the public, so I did want to be validated a little bit. Like anything you put out, you want it to some degree, but it's just a matter of like how much is this like about validation? How much of this is like I just love this?
Yeah.
You know what I
Well,
mean?
you talk about like you're jealous of someone. You're like, I don't even want to do that,
Yeah,
but I'm still jealous of them. Like that happens to everyone. And if you kind of could be like, okay, that's great for, but like I wouldn't even do that if I could. So why am I jealous right
hundred
now? You
percent.
know, if you
Yo,
can
I
kind of
got
have,
jealous of people for things that just weren't my goals.
yeah,
Like,
exactly. And it's
and
like,
I'm
what
just
am I
like,
doing?
yeah, yeah. And I think like that's the one thing about age, man. Like being an artist, age was like so scary, and I still have to like really talk myself through it a lot. Because there is like something about society that makes you feel like I remember being 19, like about to turn 20, and I was like, yeah, man, tonight, my birthday, it's over for me, man. I'm in my 20s, like life's over for me. And I'm like, yo, like what? Like even looking back, like I'm 32 now, looking back to like being, I was so scared to turn 30. And I'm like, yo, it's just, it's you, do you feel that way too? Like age is, I don't know, like maybe
A
you
little
don't,
bit.
but yeah,
Yeah. I mean, it's, you know, especially when you get kids and you realize, like, oh, wow, like my daughter is the age I was when I did this. And I'm like, that doesn't even seem that long ago.
yeah.
And it's like, oh, my parents were younger than me in this picture. You know,
That's
you get
crazy
like
to
that
me.
stuff. And then
Like
you're like, whoa.
teachers, did you have Callahan at all? Do you know
I
Callahan?
remember him.
Yeah.
I didn't have him,
I
but
DJ'd his wedding,
oh,
and
cool.
yeah,
That's
and
awesome.
we're like getting dinner talking about wedding stuff, and he's like said something about like when he was my teacher in high school, he was younger than I was right now. And I was like, dude, what? You seemed 40 at that time. Like how? Like, but even 40, right? Like when I was 21, 40 sounded like, yo, your life's over. Now, like, I'm 8 years away from it. I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, I hope it's not over. Like,
Yeah.
I hope I'm
Just getting
doing my
started.
thing. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
no doubt. No doubt. So I think like that's the one thing. Once again, shout out to my therapist. Like, she's been so good of like, be grateful about being older, because you do like if this was happening to me when I was 23, Sunday cleaning would have been done by now. Like 100%. I wouldn't have been able to do it because I would have been too overwhelmed. I would have been lost in like just all the wrong things. And now I'm able to like regulate as good as I can at the moment, but also like I just been through a lot, and you know, like as you get older, you're just able to go back to like your own experiences, and you're like, okay, this is kind of like this, and yeah, I'm just
Resilient,
yeah,
patient,
yep,
for
100%,
sure.
100%,
When you put out volume 3, you started to see some traction.
yep.
You know, since then, every volume you put out, obviously it's getting a lot of attention. But what other doors is it opening for you? Like, what are you starting to see? I mean, I know you've done weddings for a little while now. I'm
Yeah,
sure there's a lot of events and weddings that people are like, I need this guy.
yeah, yeah.
You know, talk about that.
Yeah, definitely shout out to my boy Mr. C. He really opened my eyes to like sponsorships and how just that world kind of works.
So yeah, talk about that
I'm
too.
still learning it. I'm still
Yeah,
really
I
learning a
mean, as
lot.
far as for DJing too, yeah, how does
Yeah.
that work?
I think the YouTube space with DJing, it feels a little like the wild wild west right now. It's from March 2024 of me putting volume 3 out to now. Like when I put that first one out, and maybe I was just green to the space and didn't know that much, so I don't want to act like it wasn't going on, but like I felt like I did a lot of research and I didn't really see that many people doing it. And it feels like all at the same time. Like, shout out to my boy Mark at Noise Complaints. I know me and him started putting videos out really at the same time. And it's just like within this last year and a half, it's become, it's had such a boom. And I think like I've talked to some brands that are like, we want to give you this dollar price because we see the value, but our heads just don't see the value yet. It's still very early about where it's going. So I'm still really learning the ventures, but one thing C and I have talked a lot about is that he does a very good job is like controlling the narrative on his socials. So make a lot of videos about him just talking about life and DJing, and that's one thing I'm trying to dive into a little bit. Not necessarily podcasting, but like um TikToks, YouTube shorts of like breaking down records. And that's one spot I want to go with it is like now I have the audience. I want to really like dig into the science about certain songs and why I think they're amazing. Or there's one that popped in my head when I was on a walk this morning about talking about uh branching out and the history behind branching out certain regions. Like there's one record that sticks out to me. Jay-Z got on a remix of a Juvenile record. I was like a kid, so I went back and learned about this. I didn't know. I was like 4. But
That also
I
doesn't seem that long ago
no
with
doubt.
Jay-Z and Juvenile.
But yeah, Jay got on a remix of a Juvenile song, and people were like, yo, that was like huge for Jay at the time, like 98, 99. Like that was huge for Jay at the time because that really got him played down south. And then that kind of ties to like Drake. I remember Drake getting on like Tuesday with I Love McConan at that
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
And that was like Drake really embracing the SoundCloud space. So even that, I'm like, I want to talk like I said, I love the game. Like I love like deeper than just the music. I love like the correlations of like, oh, I see the things in Drake's career that he studied from Jay-Z and that like other people might not see, but I want to bring attention to that.
Dude, if you could point that stuff out, people are going to eat that up.
That's what I
Because
mean.
they're all going to know the song. And
Yeah.
then all of a sudden you start talking about like the background or like what they took to make this.
Yeah.
And, that's always fascinating to anyone who
Yeah.
is a fan of it.
Yeah. So I want to get more into that type of stuff, and hopefully that will like break me more into like, just being on spaces like this where I get to talk about music and put people on to like just everything about the background behind it. I think, that's another thing too, is I want to get more into showing like the process of these things and traveling. Like right now for me, I'm traveling more than I've ever have, and it's a blessing and I love it so much. And I've got to meet some amazing people, but I'm realizing like how much I love being at home. Like I love my cats. I love my coffee in the morning.
Grass is always greener.
Yeah, no doubt. So even that stuff, like the things that I don't want to say struggling with, but I'm evolving through. I want to just be as transparent as possible. And just like I think that was what I was trying to do when I was writing music. And now I'm like, I can do that in my own other ways. You know what I mean? I just want to be as transparent as possible and just share music. Just share music. I just like I love it.
It's funny the process going through, especially like early adulthood into adulthood of you really figure out what you don't want to do
Yeah.
quicker than you figure out what you want to do.
Yeah.
Right. You start to learn like, all right, I don't want to be DJing every weekend downtown.
Can I also say this to that point? One thing I think we can be afraid of in this time is changing your goals or your opinions or whatever. And it's okay to like I was scared to say I was a DJ and like fully jump into the space because it felt like I was giving
big
up
commitment.
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
I felt like I was giving
Good
up on
point.
something else.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to feel wrong for that. I didn't want to feel like a failure, but it's like it's okay to evolve like your opinions or your goal path or it's just okay to do that. And to your point of like getting older, like realizing the things you want, like I think that's one thing I'm open to right now is like what type of DJ am I? People almost say like YouTube DJ like it's a bad thing, but I'm like I'm trying to figure out like maybe I am just a youth. I don't know. I'm still really figuring all of that out because the traveling thing, I love it. I also just say yes to too many things, and that's like another
Well,
thing
but
I'm like
before
trying to.
anyone cared to have you anywhere,
Yeah.
you're probably like, "I can't wait till I'm getting booked. I'm getting flown here, here, and
Yes.
here."
Yes.
And then all of a sudden you're in it and you're like, "Well, it looked good at the time, but now I don't know if this is really what I want."
Well, that's 100%, and I'm saying yes to everything because I'm like, this was like a dream. I didn't think
Yeah.
this was possible. Like I I made Sunday cleaning basically giving up. I was like, I'm done with like trying. Like that's why it's crazy to me that I'm even like in a room like this, like, and that you guys want to talk to me about this stuff because it was like me throwing the towel in. Like that's how it mentally felt to me. It was like this is my victory lap. Like I'm gonna come in this room with my cat. We're gonna play records and nobody's gonna care for the rest of my life, but I'm gonna get something out of it of just being creative because I didn't know what the ceiling could be. And now I'm like, oh, okay. Like there's definitely like I don't know what the ceiling is way higher than I thought it was. So
5 years from now, as we're talking about, you're starting to learn what you may wanna do, what you may
yeah.
not wanna do. How do you envision, your typical week?
Okay,
Or
so
like, what
yeah.
are you looking to do?
Yeah, definitely. I'm a barber right now. During the week,
Shout out to
so
Saving Face.
I love saving face, man. I love them. And I love you, man. But hopefully not working as a barber. I would love to cut the people that I love. That I have a good relationship with because I do love going in the shop and seeing my guys and
It's
um
probably fun to catch up.
it is
It's like
and
doing this.
like
Yeah.
Evan, shout out to my boy behind the cam. You can't see him, but we were talking even before we got on. Like he's like, yeah, I'm about to hear what's really going on because I like going in the shop and it's not about me. Like there's so many people I cut that are like 50 years old and they're like, oh, you went to San Diego and DJ'd? Like nice. Like they don't
That's
really
all,
they
yeah.
don't really care. Like, or I shouldn't say they don't care. They don't understand, and that's what I love is like that I'm just Mike
They're
to
so,
them.
like,
I'm just Mike
naive.
the
Yeah,
barber.
exactly.
So I don't want to lose it, but I also it's my primary way of paying my bills, so I have to go do it. And I think in 5 years from now, I'm like, yeah, I want that to be like more of my passion project. Like, okay, I go in the barbershop a couple times a week, cut my people, and I'm just on my time more. But yeah, I think like 5 years from now, um, I mean, my girlfriend Peyton would probably say kids, so uh, I mean, yeah,
You ever heard
like,
of Lenny Pierce?
no,
He's a DJ on Spotify, and he puts together these like house versions of like Wheels on the Bus and all these like kid songs. I'll bump them for our
yeah,
kids. It's kind of
yeah.
funny.
I think just
Maybe a little bit
more,
of that.
yeah, maybe a little bit of that. If I have a kid at that time, no doubt, we'll definitely be mixing in Wheels on the Bus. But yeah, I think just being more in control of my schedule. Hopefully we'll have toured at some point. One of my goals recently, I've realized I really want to try to be at least like the house DJ on an R&B tour at some point for like an artist that I love, like one that sticks out to me. I guess I'm just put it out in the universe. Leon Thomas. He's got the song Mutt. Um, like dudes like him that I'm just bumping all the time. I'm like, yeah, I wanna be on a tour with like somebody that I love. Um, so something like that. And yeah, I think just being more in control of my schedule. That's just the number one thing. I think right now I just feel like I'm being pulled in all these directions and I'm like, I just really want to I don't want to be naive and think that being in control of my schedule is just going to be like, oh yeah, like you're just not busy and have a lot of things to do. But I think right now there's a lot of things I have to do that I don't necessarily want to have to do, that I just want to have a little more backbone and say in. I think so. That one really sticks out to me. Just
Buying back your
yeah,
time.
yeah, no doubt.
Absolutely. Well, Mike, I appreciate you coming on, and it's excited to see you kind of blow up, and we're super excited to follow you, throughout the years here. We'll have you on again soon. But dude, all love, man. I appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, thank you, bro. Appreciate it, man. And great to have the like West Jenny
Yeah,
connection. And
absolutely.
I was very excited about that. So
Sweet.
appreciate you, man.